One thing I'm going to remember from Berlin for sure. My name is Shahaf Bar-Geffen. It's a beautiful name in Hebrew, terrible any other place in the world. Impossible to pronounce. I am 40. COTI is my fourth company. I sold companies, and I'm still a major shareholder in a company that runs itself with a different CEO. With me tonight are Dr. Nir Alwani, our CTO, and he's going to later on present the key innovation in all the tech aspects in what we do, which is the first presentation with regards to COTI that I have never seen or approved before. So this is the first to me as well. Nir loves audience. Also with us, Efrat Bar-Lev, our VP Marketing. She's been working with me for a few years in different companies as well. And that guy in the back there, Guy Kleiman, our COO. He's also with us, and he's back from the blockchain cruise. There's been such a thing right now happening in Visa, so that's his work life. And from here we are going on to Singapore and then back to Tel Aviv for a few days. So let me give you some background on what we do and how we do it. So in early 2017, we had an idea. We wanted to create a payment app. Specifically, we just wanted to allow high-risk merchants. High-risk merchants are not merchants that are dangerous. They're just categorized as high-risk because of high risk of a chargeback. And this kind of jeopardizes about 30 industries in the world, including travel, software as a service, and other things you can think of. And that was a very basic idea because we've seen the downfalls of traditional payment systems like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, right? Specifically high fees, slow approval rate, about 2 billion people in the world can use that. So this is what we initially wanted to solve. And we started developing like we do. And a few months into the process, we've realized that it's not going to work. Because the current blockchain that we had back then, and actually have right now, whether it's Bitcoin or then Ethereum, EOS, Cardano, what have you, is just not meant for payments. It's not working. So that was one thing. And then we thought, okay, let's just develop our own blockchain. What can go wrong, right? This was a process that I've started with two developers wanting to build a new blockchain. We've launched it last Monday. We are now 14 developers working full-time around the clock to actually achieve all of that. And we have a net out with about, I think, 10 nodes running right now. This was a very long process to actually build a whole new blockchain. And while doing that, we've realized our aha moment was when we noticed that we are solving the problem that we have with wanting to build a payment app, but actually a lot more companies have the same issue and the same problem. Anybody that is building a payment app is going to realize that, hey, I'm going to have some scalability issues, high transaction costs, there's some key features that are missing. How am I going to build this thing? And stablecoins, right? Stablecoins becoming very popular. And when you look at a stablecoin, you'll see that about 5% of it is the stable part, and this is usually their claim to fame. And 95% of their coin is still a coin and needs to be transactable. So they're having the same issues like anybody that is building a payment app. So I would say around June this year, we've decided that we're not going to just build a blockchain that will serve our payment app. We're going to build a platform that will serve anybody that is building payments, anybody that is building stablecoins, whether they are enterprises, and we have some signed up, developers, stablecoin issuers, merchants, and we started pushing that, got some very nice traction, And I'm happy to say that on CNBC this Monday we've launched TrustChain, which is the platform that is doing that. It is actually, as it says there, it's the world's first DAG-based infrastructure that is optimized for dApps that are around payments and stablecoins. In October, we're going to launch COTI. COTI is our decentralized payment network built on our TrustChain platform. And it's there to serve merchants that don't really care about scalability issues, but do want to have all the advantages that comes with our software. And COTI-X is going to launch with COTI. And COTI-X is our internal exchange, because we wanted to control that part of the system as well. So it's a full platform, and I'll show you that. It's kind of like what's there. Seems fairly easy. Okay, so as I said, the problem that we're solving is that decentralized payment networks and stablecoins are using the wrong blockchain today. They don't have something that is optimized for them, and we're building something that is optimized. The things that are solved, the easy part is to understand scalability is an issue, right? With Bitcoin for sure, but also with Ethereum, also with Plasma probably. Transaction cost is another major hurdle when it comes to payments, right? If the average transaction cost in December on Bitcoin was $50, I think right now it's probably like 16. It's too much for most transactions, right? So that's another thing, but everybody knows that, and everybody's building a blockchain that is that has better scalability and lower transaction costs. What else? Finality. When you're paying for something, because cryptocurrencies are final, the transaction is final. When you're paying for something and it's final, you're actually going to miss the traditional payment system. Let's say I bought something and the product was never delivered. What happens now? With my credit card, I can easily charge it back. With PayPal, I can file for a dispute. Someone is taking care of that. It doesn't happen with cryptocurrencies. And normal people will never pay with something that is irreversible. It doesn't make sense. When you talk to people that are outside of our community and you tell them, payments, cryptocurrencies, low fees, yada, 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 and they say, wait, what do you mean I can't charge it back? But what if product is not delivered? It happens, you know, every now and then. Or maybe it's defective. Maybe I've been wrongfully billed. What happens now? And so no mediators. No, it's done. So normal people will never have that. So we needed to solve chargebacks on cryptocurrencies as well, right? Identity. It's very good that we have some systems that are completely anonymous. But when it comes to massively adopted payment networks that are meant to serve governments or Amazon, you can't have that completely private. Governments will never let that happen. And we can go about not kicking the government all day long, but eventually merchants won't deal with something that can ruin their entire business because they've been jeopardized with money laundering. So we needed to solve identity somehow. We needed to make it private, but not anonymous. So we dealt with that as well. So the solution is an end-to-end platform that serves all parties. And our vision is not to build this coin that rules it all. The idea is to build the software that powers other coins as well, and these coins can serve global payments. So we want to be the Intel of the computer world. We want to be powered by COTI when it comes to payment systems and stablecoins. And this is the positioning, right? We have blockchain platforms that are very good with immutability and store of value. We have those that are very good with centralized computing, and we want to be the platform that is very good and optimized to payments and stability. Use cases. The basic thing, payment apps, right? And we've signed a few payment apps, and you know, when you do business development, I guess some of you did, you know you have a good product when you're calling someone or just sending an email saying what you want to offer, and we told them, we want to replace the Ethereum thing you're using with our blockchain for payments, and they get back to you in 2 nanoseconds, right? Immediately, yes, we are interested, let's try that, let's collaborate around that, and we already signed some payment apps like PumaPay, for instance. Stablecoins, as I said, they deal with stability most of the time. Like some of them are collateralized, some just do elastic supply and demand. Some have decentralized collateral like crypto, and some have fiat. And this is their project, this is the scope of what they're doing. But then someday they need to transact. They want to have a coin that is transactable. And then they realize, while smart contracts were very nice with Ethereum and building our stablecoin around that, what happens when we want to actually shift it? This is when they come to us. Now, it's not just small-time merchants. Last year, eBay have abandoned PayPal, right? And I think most of us have PayPal because of eBay, because this was the better way to transact on eBay. They have dropped PayPal to get alien because costs were lower and they want to have better control of merchants. Now think of it. If you speak to website owners, publishers, or e-commerce websites, the biggest ones, you ask them, what is the thing you care about most? What is it? User experience. They care about it. They optimize the whole thing around user experience all the time. Now imagine this. You have your own store, and it's amazing. You have the best inventory and the greatest prices, and the user experience is super sleek. Just imagine a store. And people go around and browse and take things and put them in their cart, and then when it comes to payments, they need to pay for everything that they got, right? It's a critical point, naturally. You say, wait, stop. When it comes to payment, you need to go to that room and speak with Visa, MasterCard, whatever. We don't control that experience anymore. Maybe your card will be declined because you are... I tried to pay for a donut in New York with a credit card. I have enough credit for a donut, trust me. Maybe I shouldn't, but I can. Card was declined. You know why? Nobody knows why. It was just declined, because it happens. What happens if I don't have cash or I don't have my other credit card with me? Lost business, right? Try to buy a suit in Latvia on the airport. 100% of the time the cards will be declined because unimaginably you can travel and fly and be in other places with your credit card and it will be declined. So there are so many reasons why a card will be declined, or just the experience will be poor. You don't control that part of your user experience anymore. And we have got accustomed to not controlling that part of the experience. We are not allowed to deal with processing money. There are always a bigger company that is dealing with that, and they have all the data and all the control. So imagine a future in which Amazon or eBay can build their own payment network, right? Not just use cryptocurrency, but build their own payment network. The whole thing, the whole rails. And we're at a point in time where it's actually possible. It is actually possible to bypass traditional payment system and use a different system if it's well built because of blockchain. And it's the first time ever. Because when you think of it, you ask Visa and MasterCard, what is it that they have? Specifically, what is it that they have? It's not a very cool technology, right? Plastic cards with magnetic fields, that's floppy disks. That's an outdated technology. What is it that they have? They have a monopoly over the merchant's confidence that they will get paid. I can go anywhere in the world to a shop with someone who's never met me. I can flip a card, a machine beeps, and it gives me merchandise. They have a monopoly over that, right? The confidence, the trust. But with blockchain, this monopoly is finally broken because trust can be achieved just through math. So, these high-tier merchants can build their own payment network and control it fully. And it won't be just lower cost, it will be no cost. And it won't be just better control, it will be full control. And this is now possible. And then, it's not just problems that you solve, there are opportunities that are created. Think of enterprises. We've been in Korea, and Kakao, who has been here in Korea? Well, in Korea you have Kakao, right? And Kakao is everything. You have Kakao Maps and Kakao Taxis and Kakao Payment, Kakao everything, right? They're far stronger than Visa and MasterCard in Korea. What happens if Kakao can actually compete with Visa and MasterCard? Not just build a system that rides the same kind of rails and has to compete fairly, but now they have a dirty advantage. They can do the whole thing with a fraction of the cost. They already have the merchant use and the user base and the brand awareness and everything. They just don't have the rails right now. But what happens if they do have the rails? So this is a new opportunity. Now, this is the platform. This is what we've built. The underlying technology in the infrastructure, I'm going to let Neil speak about it more, because maybe I'll say wrong things and then a little bad. But in it there are nodes, right? The nodes, we have full nodes, and Neil will discuss that. ESP Nodes, which is something extremely innovative that we've developed. The name is not innovative, by the way. ESP Nodes just stands for Double Spend Prevention Nodes. We didn't call it the Terminator or anything, just ESP Nodes. History nodes, and that is the DAG infrastructure. On top of it, we've realized that we can't just build infrastructure and hopefully people will start developing. So we've built a layer of services that makes it more accessible and useful. In it there is COTI X. COTI X is our exchange. Just think of the simple use case. Someone is wanting to buy something from a merchant. The merchant has its own payment network, and there are coins there. The user needs to get the coins. I'm not going to send him to Binance, open an account, get the coins, come back, and then complete his purchase. That doesn't make sense, right? So I wanted to have full control and have my own exchange that deals with that. And in it, we can, of course, deal with KYC and compliance, because that is really needed. Stability framework, if you want to issue a stable coin. We give buyer-seller protections, which I'll discuss a bit more later. And then you have applications. And as I said, the proof is in eating the pudding, and we wanted to build the first application ourselves. So we'll see the difficulties in working with us. And we also wanted to provide merchants with the experience without needing to issue their own coin. So we've created COTI Pay. COTI Pay has a wallet, a debit card, point of sale support, but I'll discuss all of that. So DAG, and I know most of you are probably here because of DAG. And I just, maybe there are two people here that don't know DAG, so DAG is direct acyclic graph. We think it's the best infrastructure for payments, especially due to its high scalability. In DAG, when the network grows, the network becomes faster actually, unlike blockchain. And we can now achieve tens of thousands of transactions per second, which you see with Neil. With DAG, there is no mining, so the network is actually it's more fair. Anybody with a laptop can run a node for COTI. Just a laptop. You don't need a supercomputer. You can run a node for COTI. When you run a node, you can charge fees from transactions running through you. And this is how you collect your service rewards, and you get your own COTI coins. So you don't need a supercomputer, and this can't be centralized, of course. And it also means that we incentivize the growth of our network. DAG is not enough. DAG is a data structure which is fairly known. What we needed to do, and this is one of the key innovations that Neil will elaborate more, is create a new consensus protocol. We call it the trust chain, and I'm not gonna let Neil speak about it more, but the idea is that all participants in the network are known and they are given trust score. That trust score varies and changes over time according to their actual behavior, and each transaction is given a score. And transactions with higher trust score connect and cluster with similar transactions, and those with low score cluster with other transactions with low score. And this is how you tier the network, and this is how you better parallel the way you achieve consensus. So as I said, there is no costly mining, and the network has very low energy consumption. You can run it, the client side of it from a phone. It has improved security. It has built-in KYC and AML support. Overall, it increases the speed, and it lowers the transaction costs, and that is absolutely mandatory when it comes to global payments. It means that we can deal with nano payments and micro payments, which is something that is just not happening today. I want to show you a quick video. Command tab on Command Pro. So this was a simulation of our network, by the way, a math simulation, not just a very cool animation. And that guy there once sent me an email like 3 months ago saying, I'm happy to say that the actual network behaves like a simulation. So that's very good. So what you see here with orange is new transactions added to the network. Blue are the transactions that have tipped to and have validated, not confirmed. What you're going to see now is a trust chain. So this transaction here is now confirmed because enough trust was accumulated on the chain. So we define a threshold, and when that threshold is crossed, transaction is confirmed. And that happens faster if you have transactions with a higher trust score, and slower if you have them with a lower trust score, which is quite natural. This is how we behave in real life. If I'm giving a friend of mine cash, and I know him and he knows me, I expect very little fees on this transaction, and I expect it to be immediate. If I'm sending money all the way to Australia to someone that I've never met before, I know it's going to take a week and cost me a small fortune, right? So this is how real life actually happens. Aha. Thank you. So COTI, as I said, is our exchange. One thing that I haven't told you about is that it is licensed. We've received a license to operate in Europe. You don't need that actually to operate right now, but we think someday you would, and this is why we got it. It also helps us with actually processing credit cards and real world money into crypto, because like from October, I think, MasterCard won't process any credit card issued by MasterCard that is to a merchant that is not licensed to operate, right? So there's going to be some shifts in that world, and we're licensed. Buyer seller protection. Remember chargebacks? How do you do chargebacks with cryptocurrencies? Let me tell you what we've done. So we have about 1,000 people in our network that has high trust score, that have been screened, and that have opted in to become jury. They can vote when asked to. So let's say I've bought something, I say that the product was never delivered, I bought it from Efrat. Efrat says, of course I sent it. I said, no, you hadn't, and we go about in the mail. Here we finally realize that we're not going to solve that ourselves. This is when usually I would charge back with Visa or just file for dispute in PayPal. So what happens now? We randomly pick 3 to 11 people from this pool of juries, and we give them access to real world data, right? They can see the correspondence between us. I can provide evidence. Efrat can provide evidence. Efrat can send the tracking from the post office. I may say the product is defective and send a photo of it broken, whatever. Like whatever you do with PayPal or whatever. And these juries can view that and make a vote. Now, they can't coordinate the votes between themselves because they don't know each other and they don't know who was picked. And they don't know the merchant or the consumer because that's private. They just view the data and they vote. Now, how do we know that they vote smartly and take into consideration all the facts? Because we make them back the vote with some of their tokens. And the winning, and the voting process is happening, it's about 2 weeks, it's done, we count the votes, and we have a majority. And those who were with the majority collect some of the tokens of those who weren't with the majority. And this is how we incentivize you to go towards what is called the shedding point, which is my expectations to what the majority of people would think is right in this case. So this is game theory, and it's Vitalik Buterin has actually published some information about it. But when you think about this system more and more, you'll find that it's a very nifty way to achieve justice in the world. In terms of application, what we've done is, of course, create a payment app and all the integration tools in the world, widgets, whatever. It's done, it's ready. You can just easily put that in your website. We are giving away, of course, a wallet that can be white labeled. We are able to get a debit card because we've signed it with a bank, and we can offer that as well. And the cool thing and the new thing is that we now do point of sale software. So I'm announcing here now, because it wasn't advertised before, about 10 days ago, we've signed in with a point of sale devices company to power up their devices with access to crypto. And we are going to be on 250,000 devices in the US and Korea, starting around November, and we're going to launch it gradually until June next year. So this is a very wide access to consumer, and this is new money entering the system. So this is our aim. We want to make this go away and turn it to this. This is super complicated. This is an outdated technology. This is a 40-year-old technology that has served us really well, but it's outdated completely. And about 2 billion people can access that. And as the world grows and online shopping is not going anywhere beside upwards, that is very clear, we need better systems and better controls, and this is what we aim to power up. So these are the key features of what we do. I think I've covered all of it. Naturally, settlements are instant with the system, and we even have a way to recover lost seed data. Now, traction, I gave you some glimpse into it. COTI, which we're launching in October, when we told merchants, we did a call out through our community. We told merchants, hey, you can join the system. Transaction fees will be extremely low. This is the speed of it. If you're interested, just sign in here. About 5,000 of them did in less than 10 days, which is, and then we closed it, right? Because I said we can't deal with all of that right now. So a lot of merchants are interested in that, and when we offered our wallet, 80,000 consumers have opted in to download that. So this is the traction for COTI Pay. I won't bore you with the video. The idea is that it's super simple. You have no idea as a simple consumer that you even deal with cryptocurrencies. We made it super simple. Enterprises. Processing.com is one of the largest payment processors in the world. They process tens of billions of dollars every year. We've exclusively signed in with them to power up a next generation payment system through them. And this is happening now. Not advertised yet. iOneSource, one of the largest SDK providers for to monetize apps. They're dealing with a lot of payments. They've signed in with us, and there is more to come. Thank you. With advanced blockchain, we're helping them, and they're helping us develop next generation solutions to companies here in Germany. So what is the market opportunity? Online payment industry is huge and it's just growing and it's very clear to us. And it's even without the 2 billion people that can come into that industry. Governments and enterprises are on the sidelines right now. And real money is on the sidelines right now. It's not even in the market. And we think that if the right system is there and it's optimized and it can be easily regulated and it makes sense to a lot of consumers, the opportunity is in the trillions. I will let Neil present him. I won't let Neil present himself. He's super shy. Neil is a math PhD. Has 14 patents. Actually, when he joined the company, he said he has 13 patents. And then I said, actually, I have 14 patents. So everybody forgets their patents, right? I forget my patents all the time. Neil sold the company to IBM and was their head of research. We are 30 people. About half of us are developers, including people that are highly awarded in math, data science, and so on and so forth. And the rest of the team is people with fintech, banking, and financial experience. We have some very good advisors. So Dr. Matthew Brady is the former Chief Investment Officer of BlackRock, one of the largest hedge funds in the world. We are the only blockchain company that he's involved with. Stephen Hailborn is the former CEO of Investec Bank in the UK and South Africa. Again, we're the only blockchain company that he's involved with. We have Lindsay from Luna Capital. They invest in DAL projects. Processing.com, Avi Chesed, when he saw what we're doing, actually wanted to use that for his company. Also invested in the company and became an advisor. We have Greg Kidd. Greg Kidd was the CRO of Ripple, first investor in Coinbase and also in Twitter. Most of it, as he said, by accident. He was at the right place at the right time 4 times, right? Or maybe it's just shy. But Greg Kidd is helping us a lot. And Nimod Lehavi from Simplex. They kind of invented how to use credit cards with cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of coverage about us. You can see the latest is we've been debuted on CNBC last Monday. And there is a lot of information. We advertise a lot. So we have a very extensive white paper that we keep on updating. Token economy, of course, and an overview of our business when it comes to COTI Pay. This is not clear enough, but how we distribute our tokens. So about 30% is for sale and about half of it is already sold. The team gets 15% that is locked for 2 years. Advisors got 10% that is locked for 6 to 12 months. And 45% of our pool is actually meant for incentives. So we incentivize other projects to work with us. We incentivize merchants, consumer. This is how we oil the wheels of adoption. So it means that about 45% of the tokens will actually be given away for free, including a few tokens today here, right? But we'll cover that more, but at least one of you will go home with richer than he was when he came in. And it's not because Ethereum is up 20% today, but maybe that too. Okay, I'm going to pause now for questions.